Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at noon.
New for you at noon. Friends say that the woman who was trampled by a horse in Fargo yesterday has died. Friends also identified 57-year-old Kimberly Ray Elliott as the person involved in Tuesday's incident at the North Dakota State University Equine Center. A call came in around noon yesterday that a woman had been trampled. She was transported to a local hospital for treatment. The university has stated that she was not a student or an employee. Relatives of 9 U.S. dual citizens slaughtered in northern Mexico last month met with the country's president, who assured them that more arrests have been made. Julian LeBaron said that during a family meeting with Mexico's president and his cabinet on Monday, officials said that at least four suspects have been detained in the November 4th killings. The extended LeBaron family has lived in northern Mexico for decades and identify as part of the Mormon tradition. 3 young mothers and 6 children were killed in the attack near the border. 5 of the victims were members of the Miller family from Williston, North Dakota. Officials said a drug cartel is suspected in the attack. Taking a live look outside now, another beautiful day. What does the rest of the week have in store? Let's check in with meteorologist Lisa Green.
Well, for now, we're looking at things that are looking up for us today. We've got temperatures that are approaching the freezing mark, rising above freezing here this afternoon, which will feel nice out there, but watch out for slushy and soft snow that's compacted on the roads. It might get a little more slippery out there, and temperatures that will continue to rise a couple more degrees over the next few hours. So again, we're looking at another pleasant December day. Not only that, but the wind isn't too strong. Now, we do have some wind speeds into the teens, but no more than 15 miles per hour with wind out of the west or northwest. So the wind not a problem for us. We're looking at your visible satellite loop where you see that steady area of white covering much of the valley. Well, that's the snow, the snowpack that is now in place. Not as visible to the east where we have those evergreen trees obscuring our view. And then there are some clouds to the north that we're going to keep an eye on for today. Those will be trying to creep their way in. But until then, enjoying some mostly sunny skies here this afternoon, and again, temperatures that are on the mild side. We'll have more on this coming up, and take a look at that rest of the week forecast and ahead to the weekend too, coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Lisa. A man is critically injured after a camper explosion in the Southern Valley. The Richland County Sheriff's Office says that the explosion happened around 6:30 last night in rural Wahpeton. The victim was inside the camper at the time. He was life-flighted to a Fargo hospital with what's described as serious injuries. The North Dakota Fire Marshal's office is looking for the cause of the blast. A brigadier general and retired dean at the Air Force Academy is taking over the helm at UND in Grand Forks. Andrew Armacost was hired yesterday by the North Dakota Board of Higher Education. He takes over for Mark Kennedy, who is now president at the University of Colorado. Armacost served more than 30 years on active duty and spent 20 years both as a professor and executive at the Air Force Academy, including stints as Dean of Faculty and Chief Academic Officer. New information now on a triple murder-suicide in Minneapolis. Medical examiners say 2 boys and their mother were shot multiple times, and the woman was also stabbed in the chest before the boy's father shot himself on Sunday. Police identified the victims as 39-year-old Kristen Schledetsky and her sons 8-year-old Nelson and 11-year-old William. Their father was 53-year-old David Schledetsky. The couple divorced in June. A neighbor says he heard the boys screaming and saw them running out their front door, followed by the sound of gunshots. City officials say it's time to get your vehicles out of the way of snowplows that are trying to clean up streets. It's been more than 2 days since the storm ended, and police are starting to take cars that haven't been dug out yet. There are winter parking restrictions in places in the city of Fargo for this exact reason. If you don't get your vehicles off the street, police may tow them so city street crews can do their job. A pivotal day for President Trump with the impeachment inquiry now in the hands of the Judiciary Committee. Hearings begin today with Democrats making their case that President Trump deserves impeachment. Susan McGinnis joins us with that story.
The House Committee on the Judiciary will come to order.
The House Judiciary Committee taking the reins of the impeachment inquiry, laying the constitutional groundwork for impeaching President Trump.
President Trump did not merely seek to benefit from foreign interference in our elections. He directly and explicitly invited foreign interference in our elections.
In the committee's first public hearing, constitutional scholars explain high crimes and misdemeanors and whether the president's actions rise to that benchmark. Today's focus, this report. The House Intelligence Committee concluding the president abused the power of his office to solicit a foreign power to help him in 2020, asking Ukraine to publicly announce investigations into former Vice President Joe Biden and 2016 election interference, all while withholding military aid to Ukraine. The report also says the president obstructed congressional investigation of his actions. Republicans continue to argue the president has done nothing wrong.
Because you just don't like the guy. You haven't liked him since November of 2016.
But Democrats alleging a scheme, including officials at the highest levels of government, including the vice president and secretary of state. And the intel report names the president's attorney, Rudy Giuliani, hundreds of times, showing he played a role in pressuring Ukraine. Overseas at the NATO summit, the president asked about Giuliani's calls.
I really don't know. You'd have to ask him.
The president deflecting questions from London as lawmakers in Washington continue to ask their own. Susan McGinnis, NBC News, Washington.
Should the committee conclude the president's actions constitute high crimes and misdemeanors, it would draw up articles of impeachment to be voted on in the House. In our consumer alert this afternoon, the 2020 forecast for home sales is out, and expectations are the housing shortage could become the worst in U.S. history, and home value will shrink in some cities. Sales of existing homes are forecast to fall 1.8% from 2019. Home prices will flatten nationally, increasing just 0.8%. But prices will fall in a quarter of the 100 largest metropolitan markets.